Absolutely. I mean, the challenges of looking at the future of mobility definitely aren't about the implementation, they're about the concept stages. When we just look at e-mobility and ride sharing, it's not actually how you implement it, it's how you figure out how the people interact together. And in virtual reality, I mean, so I'm a huge VR nerd also.
Great.
I have to
come
admit.
to our workspace later on.
So what exactly is happening in your workspace?
What we are showcasing is a little demo we programmed ourselves, where we have people put a main unit into a dashboard. Doesn't sound so fancy, but I mean, building or designing the assembly of a car is like solving a gigantic 3D puzzle.
Right, yes.
And so you have this main unit and it has to fit inside the dashboard. And if you're designing the main unit, you design the hole in the dashboard. And if those people don't talk to one another, the main unit just won't fit. And therefore, we have these design talks where the people come together and try to figure out, do things actually fit into one another? Does the 3D puzzle work out? And that's what we try now in virtual reality. So we handle the main unit and try to put it into the dashboard. And we can do that already while we are still in the data stage of designing the car. We don't have to have prototypes. And that's why we use it. But do you feel comfortable doing that in VR? What do we need? I mean, you are a VR expert. What about facial expressions?
Yeah.
How about body language?
Mm-hmm.
How do we do the motion capturing of our colleagues? Those are all questions we need to solve.
Absolutely. I mean, interacting with other people in virtual reality is actually a really interesting concept,
Yes.
right? Because there's this. I'm just gonna tell a quick story right now. So I watched this really interesting video about these two people who went on a blind date in virtual reality. Right, so the first time they met was their avatar, and they got taken to the moon and put on all these other places. So when you start to think about human relationships within virtual reality, it's interesting to think about how it's a little more free, right? Because you don't have the person to feel like they're judging you or immediately present. So you can actually be your more true self. Maybe I'm romanticizing this a little bit. Maybe I'm going a little bit crazy. But how are you thinking about those types of concepts when you think about virtual reality?
What we would want to be able to do is to have actually real-time avatars. So the people the way they are. That's what we need for the body language and for the facial expression itself. Also, I must say it's a pity that the people will see how big my stomach has grown by now. But that's the natural way of interacting. And yeah, I mean, there is room for cheating. Maybe I'll tweak my avatar a little bit, but that's the way we naturally communicate. And we need to figure out how much technology do we need in order to resemble our natural way of communication. And if we don't have that, if we lack one or two or three of those communication channels we have besides language, it just doesn't feel natural. That's why telephone conferences or video conferences don't feel natural. Because you only see part of the people who are talking, you don't see the entire room, you don't notice who is making eye contact with who and what reason for.
Yeah.
And those are things that we will need to implement in order for this to work.